Islam. We want to welcome everyone to our Friday holiday service on the body. We want to welcome everyone to our Morris Perspectives class, sponsored by our Morris American government. Our host for tonight's class is our National Grand Sheik of Morris America, Dr. Cyril Nitiel Mohit. And at this time, we will call to the floor our National Assistant Grand Sheik of Morris America, Dr. Haku Eru Yahudi Bey, for the opening of our meeting according to law. Islam, National Assistant Grand Sheik, you there?
Islam, Grand Man, I'm here. Islam,
you have the floor.
Gratitude. Islam, Morris America. I am Dr. Haku Eru Yahudi Bey, National Assistant Grand Sheik of Morris America. Let me rise and give all praise to mighty God Allah. Give high honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Let's come forth with our ancient committee and at that Moorish American prayer. And as we come forth, we ask that you open up your hearts and minds as we open up the way. Ya Allah have nu heru makubnet teru. Ya Allah have het heru. Ya Allah ma'at heru. Ya Allah hotep heru. Ya Allah heru. Ya Allah ma'at herakuti. Ya Allah atwajet juti. Ya Allah per satet per heru. Ya Allah bamaduti. El Ezet Shepherd's Ray Atu Ali. Aliyah. Is that the same Moorish canon transliteration? O Allah, the Father of the universe. O Allah, the Father of love. O Allah, the Spirit of truth. O Allah, the Spirit of peace. O Allah, the Spirit of freedom. O Allah, the Spirit of justice. O Allah, you are my protector. O Allah, you are my guide. O Allah, you are my salvation by night and by day. O Allah, through your holy prophet. O Allah, Drew Ali. Amen. Holy Islam. Now let us come forth with our divine constitution of Moorish America. The 7 supreme constitutional acts of law. Salvation, our God, unity. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the Chairman of Moorish America are empowered to make law and enforce law with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of Moorish America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is known before the citizens of Moorish America. The bylaws. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended into his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. No citizen is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. No organization of Moorish America is to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all citizens must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865, during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All citizens must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of Moorish America. Moorish Americans must pay their due and keep in line with all the necessities of Moorish America, and then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, peace and blessings unto him, founding father and framer of the divine constitution and bylaws of Moorish America. And now that this meeting has been opened according to Act 2 of our divine constitution of Moorish America, with love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, we say Islam. Islam. Islam is peace and love, family. I'd like to call back to the floor Dr. Marvin Edwards Bay. Islam General, you have the floor.
Islam, National Assistant Grand Sheikh, gratitude opening our meeting according to law. Islam, Islam, Islam. I'm Divine Minister Dr. Marvin Edwards Bay, Consul General of the Texas Territory, rising, giving all praise to the great God Allah, the Father of the universe, and giving highest honor to his prophet, our prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give high honors to our Moorish American government, our Act 1, and all of our officials and citizens of the Moorish American government, and everything that is Moorish. And that's everything that the prophet brought to save us as a nation of people, so that all of humanity may be saved from the wrath of Allah. I will be reading our subject chapter of the week, chapter 46, Holy Instructions for Thy Children. And I will begin. Consider, thou art a parent, the importance of thy trust, the being thou hast produced. It is thy duty to support. Upon thee also it depended whether the child of thy bosom be a blessing or a curse to thyself, a useful or a worthless member to the community. Ayat 3. Prepare him early with instruction and season his mind with the maxims of truth. Ayat 4. Watch the bent of his inclinations. Set him right in his youth, and let no evil habit gain strength with his years. Ayat 5. So shall he rise like a cedar on the mountains. His head shall be seen above the trees of the forest. Ayat 6. A wicked son is a reproach to his father, but he that doth right is an honor to his gray hairs. Ayat 7. The soul is thine own, oneself. The soil is thine own. Let it not want cultivation. The seed which thou sowest, that also shalt thou reap. I teach him obedience, and he shall bless thee. Teach him modesty, he shall not be ashamed. I teach him gratitude, and he shall receive benefits. Teach him charity, and he shall gain love. I teach him temperance, and he shall have health. Teach him prudence, and fortune shall attend him. I teach him oneself. Just read that. I teach him justice, and he shall be honored by the world. Teach him sincerity, and his own heart shall not reproach him. Teach him diligence, and his wealth shall increase. Teach him benevolence, and his mind shall be exalted. Teach him science, and his life shall be useful. Teach him religion, and his death shall be happy. Islam. And Dr. Marvin Edwards State, Consul General, takes territory. Today's date is February 7th, 2026. We give honors to our National Assistant Grand Sheikh, Dr. Akuba Uribe, of the opening of our class according to law. And honors to Dr. Marvin Edwards State for the reading of the chapter of the week, chapter 46, and for taking registration. Our host for the night's Morse Perspectives class is our National Grand Sheikh of Morse America, Dr. Federal NTL, Mohedi Sexual. His subject matter is coming from our subject chapter of the week, Ayat 3. Prepare him early with instruction and reason his mind with the maxims of truth. We will now call to the floor our host, our National Grand Sheikh. Islam Grand Sheikh, that's Grand Sheikh, you there?
Unmuted. Islam, can you hear me, brother?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. You're on the floor.
Gratitude. Islam, Moorish America. Want to rise upon the seven with an unbroken circle of justice, mercy, love, and right, and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Al-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal. We give honors to our Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything that our Holy Prophet brought to exhume us as a nation. I want to welcome you to another Moorish Perspectives. I'm your host instructor, Dr. Shahid Imani Mohadi Shabazel, and my ancient Comedian high name being the same as Dr. Shedwa Mintia Muhammad Shepsuel. And more, as you already know, that we have a grand drawing to bring to the manifest as it relates to our family. You know, so we encourage our family to have their paper and their pen on the manifest as we go into our particular subject tonight. And our subject title is in reference to prepare him early with instruction and season his mind with the maxims of truth. And this is from the holy instruction, you know, of our holy prophet given to the children. And in all actuality, when we say children, a lot of people begin to thinking, oh, I'm grown, when they get at a certain age bracket. However, when we speak of the children at this particular degree or this level of unfoldment, we are actually dealing with all of our people. Because remember, we are children of, our Father's care. And the breast of one mother has given us up. In this context, we dealing with, not only our decent nature and our divine creed, but our connection to Ish and Isha. It's just a powerful degree of unfoldment as it relates to everything it is that our holy prophet brought to us and everything it is that he taught to us. Who else could give us these grand keys, in order for us to be able to unfold and come into who we were born to be. So we got a powerful measure, Moorish Ken, as we relate to going into this special subject matter. Make no mistake about it. It's going to be a powerful demonstration here. And so we encourage our family again, to most definitely have their, have their paper and pen on handy. We are definitely going into some science as it relates to dealing with this measure. But we always like to lay a foundation so that our family get the gist on exactly where we're coming from. So trust me, every time we come forth, it's going to be a unique presentation because we draw from the well of Zemzem when it comes to the information. And we know Zemzem is a spiritual well that never run dry. So you're going to always be able to learn something. If you're willing to learn something, you're going to earn something too as a result of what you learn. Giving honors to our National Grand Sheikh Emeritus, Dr. Serapis Amin Rael, he would often, go back and forth with myself and we would be joking. He'd say, we're going to learn them something. Learn something today. You're going to learn today. So it's a powerful draw at Moorish Ken. Again, we are encouraging our family to be tentative and really follow what it is that we are bringing here, because we ain't just talking to be talking. If you take these keys and degrees that we're giving you, you can utilize these in your life and set your house in order. This ain't just a bunch of talking, just for the sake of talking. We are really giving our people grand measures of unfoldment. Now, being that we don't go off into an institution and make our people pay for this information, this is what make them take it for granted. But a lot of this stuff that we are giving to our people is actually information that people been trying to hide from you for years. They didn't want you to know the truth of you as it relates to being in your higher self. They didn't want you to know the truth as it relates to you being, one with God. Going beyond just knowing that God is one himself, but you being one with God. They never wanted you to know this. Because as long as they could keep you, in a state where you had no knowledge of knowing that you were one with the great God, then you would feel like you was alone. You would feel like you didn't have anyone to strive and fight for your cause. But see, I'm here to tell you, I know better. And by knowing better, this is what inspires me to do better. And I am not only inspired when it comes to dealing with myself, but I'm inspired when it comes to dealing with my people and them knowing as well. If we don't bring the truth, then who gonna bring it? Our people have been so far removed from what truth is to where they don't comprehend when they are being manipulated as a result of truth and falsehood strangely mixed. And this is the diet, the mental diet, that Rome has had our people on, and it has been killing our people by the thousands daily, because they have been, like our brother Malcolm used to say, hoodwinked, run amok, led astray. They've been had, bamboozled. Oh, man. And even now, in this new era and time, in the age of information, our people are still falling by climbing. And that's why tonight we're going to teach our people, how to deal with ladders that have strong rungs, so that when you climb, they don't become instruments of accident. You don't have no accidents. Ain't going to be no freak accidents when you climb in the ladder of the great God Allah. Because divinity, is going to be your spiritual harness, so to speak. They'll hold you up. You see? So, yeah, this is going to be a powerful demonstration. If you just coming in for the first time, be sure to hit the like, share, and subscribe. And all is well. Reach out to headquarters. Get on the email list so you can get the link. And you can also tune into, the platform online. So, yeah, this is a powerful demonstration. Again, our subject matter that we are dealing with. Want our family to hear us clearly. And for those who are looking for the live link is in your email. You should have got it from Morris Theocracy. We see our brother Marvin Edwards Bay just checked in, Islam. So our subject matter again is prepare him early with instruction and season his mind with the maxims of truth. I want to touch on a particular measure, Morris Ken, as it relates to Yehoshua as a young man. There was a time, when Yehoshua as a young man, during the time of the Jewish feast, Ravana had attended this special feast. Ravana, being a man of wealth, he was said to be a just man. He was traveling with a band of Brahmic priests whom had sought wisdom in the West. Now, I want you to put this in the modern day context as I give this to you, because we know that our holy prophet is Yehoshua come again. So when we augment the teaching, we augment the teaching in a special way to where you are not trapped, in 2,000 years of the past, but we are now in this present time. So we see that they sought wisdom in the West. And it went on to state that Yehoshua had stood amongst these particular priests and he spoke. He gave a demonstration, so to speak, right? And once they listened, Ravana, he heard the message and he was amazed. It moved him in a particular way. So it moved him so much so to where he began to inquire about who Yehoshua was and from whence he had came. He wanted to know where this cat was from. Because what he heard, it most definitely, woke him up. So as he asked, he ran into a particular chief by the name of Hillel. And Hillel told him, he said, we call this the day star from on high. He pretty much, hyping Yehoshua up to Ravana. Yeah, this one right here, this the day star from on high right here. That's what we call him. For he has come to bring to men a light, the light of life, to lighten up the way of men and redeem his people of Israel, right? So if we were to take this and bring this up to date, then we would see that this day star from on high that came to bring light, a light of life, and lighten up the way of men and redeem his people of Moorish America, then we know this is Yahushua will come again, right? So Hillel went on to give Ravana a report about, this special one, this child. You see, notice they're using the term child because them, they were more likely elders. This elder station was a real degree of respect in that special time. You could have been a grown man and you were still a child to the elders. You see, regardless of how old you may have thought you were, you could have been 21 years of age and the elders, were your elders. There was a respect there. That's key to be understood. And so, again, Hillel began to tell Ravana about Yehoshua, about the prophecies that concerned him, about, the wonders of the night when he was born, the things that they seen within the heavens, right? About the visit of the Magi, the Magian priests, the Alamajus is what they called them, in the Grand Quran. These are the people that practices teachings of Zoroastrianism or Zoroastrianism, right? A lot of these actually had a close relationship with the Sabians, but that's a whole nother measure. They also told Ravana about the way in which this particular young seed was protected from the wrath of evil men, about his flight into Egypt, his parent having to flee into Egypt with him, due to, those who were feeling that he was a threat and they wanted to get him out of the way. Herod, they knew who he was. Herod never denied who this child was. But it says also in the storyline that at this time, he was serving with his father as a carpenter in Nazareth. And Ravana had entered in and asked to know the way to Nazareth that he may go honor such a one as the son of Allah. So with his gorgeous train, you know how they move when it comes to dealing with those people from India. They demonstrate just like Kemet. When they make an entry, they make a grand entry, man. I'm talking about, brocaded out silk, jewels hanging, from their neck to their belly or belly button. They shining, man. They come in there and, this one enter into Nazareth and he found the object of his search. Now, this is dealing with the life works of Yehoshua in India among the Muslims now. Though considered a child, he was a full-grown man now. But yet Ravana found him, and he was engaged in building dwellings for the sons of men. Now, this is a very important key here. What do we mean when we say that Yehoshua was, engaged in building dwellings for the sons of men? Now, do we think that this is just a place where the sons of men can go and lay down, and get a good night rest, a place that they will live and so forth and so on? Or are we talking about something more intricate when it comes to the places that will be in the build for the dwelling of the sons of men? Because what would be more important to Yehoshua as a builder, as a carpenter, would not be so much as those things that one would physically live in, but it would have more to do with building the temples that relate to man himself being a temple. Now, we know that in our Moorish Holy Quran, we hear the expression of the temple of truth, the temple of perfected man, the temple of purity, the temple of Allah, the temple of love. I mean, we can go on and on about various different temples that are being mentioned in the Moorish Holy Quran. But every one of those temples that I just mentioned, all of them have to do with man himself being that. If there's a temple of Allah, then man himself will be the temple of Allah. If there's a temple of love, then man himself will be the temple of love. If there's a temple of truth, then man himself will be a temple of truth. If there's a temple of peace, freedom, justice, or whatever, if there's a temple, then these temples didn't relate again to physical dwelling, where one is going to live in for a short duration. But these temples related again to man himself, no matter what degree that we are dealing with. And we should always see it as such from this point on when we hear this type of language being used in the Moorish Holy Quran. Right? So, if he was found engaging in such tasks of building these dwellings, then he himself had to be built up or had to have the experience as a master builder to be able to complete this special task or even begin to carry out the task. Oh, it's going to get plain in a minute. This is the point that we are pivoting from that's going to bring us back to our chapter. It says, and when he first saw Yehoshua, he was climbing up a 12-step ladder, and he carried in his hands a compass, square, and axe. Now we know the axe is the ancient ancestor of the scimitar. So, and we know that the axe in Kemetic tradition, was used as a representation of the law or even God himself. And then we seen this actually in the expression of netter as it represents a banner or a flag. So it's not strange when you go down to the time of the Almoravids and the Fatimid dynasties, these symbols begin to be the first symbols that were utilized. Coming from a white banner, then they place a scimitar in the white banner. And then later on you see them inheriting the star. So we can see a precursor, so to speak, to what would later become our flag, which is a universal flag that has been planted in the cosmos even before it became a physical banner, that we have tangible, within our measure now that was passed down to us from cherubim, woven as a celestial cloth. But that's another measure. When Ravana first saw Yehoshua again, he was climbing up a 12-step ladder, and he carried in his hand. The hand is symbolic to the mind. you know, and he carried in his hands a compass, a square, and an axe. And Ravana then stated, all hail, most favored son of heaven. He was greeting a child this way, a child of the great God Allah, who was with his father, learning, how to build. I want to cut the measure short here, but let's just say Ravana became later a guest in the house of Joseph. And he asked that he might be a patron of Yehoshua, that he might take him to the east, where he could learn the wisdom of the Brahms. You see? So that, after he got this consent, really it was the goal for him to take Yehoshua along and learn from Yehoshua. That's a powerful demonstration. And it stated once, that one had went on that journey. Yehoshua himself was accepted as a pupil in the temple of Jagannath. And there he learned the Vedas and the Manic law while he was teaching at the same time. The Brahmic masters, we are told that they wondered at the clear conceptions of the child and were often amazed when he explained to them the meaning of the law. This was the same thing that took place when our holy prophet came on the manifest to demonstrate as he did. Many was amazed. You're talking about 1913. Wasn't nobody talking about Kemet. Wasn't nobody talking nothing about Egypt and being Egyptian adepts. A young man, our holy prophet, came forth teaching this doctrine, which was very foreign to most of our people. It was foreign to the West, period. But how did he receive this knowledge? It has everything to do with being trained up to build the dwellings for the sons of men. So we have it in the prophet's initiation into this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. He climbed his 12-step ladder. He was taught the maxims of the truth by the great God Allah himself. And through that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, he was able to come back and raise us up. So this brings us up to where we're going now. But before I go into this special drawing any further, I'm going to go to the dictionary of symbols. And I want to go into the definition of the word ladder. Boy, they got a long definition here. So I'm going to see if I can pull out and extract certain things that are most important rather than trying to read everything. Things that will really unlock the hearts and minds of our people. So it states, ladder. All the different aspects of ladder symbolism brings us back to the single problem of the relationship between heaven and earth. Ladders are preeminently symbols of ascension and realization of potential related to the symbolism of verticality. However, they display a gradual ascension and a channel of communication in both directions between different levels. Angels ascend and descend, right? That's what we are told in the Moorish, we told in the Grand Quran. Lord of the ways of ascent. Angels ascend and descend in a period as if it were 50,000 years. That's what it said in the Grand Quran. We're asked about our flag. How old is our flag in the 102s? 50,000 years. I'm just bringing that in for commentary. All realization of potential, Blackshirt observes, is conceived as elevation, and all elevation is depicted as a rising curve. See, we talk about the bent of inclination. We are told that we rise on an incline. We're going to show you what that incline is in a minute. So again, Blackshirt observes is conceived as elevation. All elevation is depicted as a rising curve. Verticality is the line which describes the quality and the height of that elevation. Horizontally is the quantity and extent. Height would be the individual's dimension viewed externally. Depth, that same dimension viewed from within. In art, ladders are imaginary stairways of spiritual ascension. Keep that in mind. Ladders are equivalent to stairways of spiritual ascension. So when we talk about climbing this 12-step ladder, you come into a greater understanding. They are also symbols of intercommunication and the comings and goings between heaven and earth, as in Dante's Paradiso. It states, I saw, reared up in color, like to the sun illumined gold, a ladder which my kin pursued in vain. So lofty was the summit, down whose step I saw the splendors in such multitude, descending every light in heaven, methought was shed thence. You know, and we can see reminiscent of Jacob's ladder. Angels ascended and descended. He was able to ascend. At the top of the ladder was his ancestor, God himself. Go look it up and check it out if you don't believe what I'm saying. Ladders may be made pegs hammered into mountainsides, or even according to the Pacific legend of flights of arrows, each one shot into the tail. It says of the one before, and the first sticking into the vault of heaven. Ladders may also be made of such airy substances as the rainbow, or on the spiritual plane from the stages of inner perfection. So, man, do you understand the science that our prophet was teaching us? And we're going to show you what this 12-step ladder has to do with what we're talking about now. We teaching one to climb with safety, to climb without falling by climbing. All of this has to do with this present chapter. We're going to get into it in a second. Just hold your horses. The notion that in the beginning heaven and earth were joined and that this connection was subsequently broken, that's chapter 1, right? The creation and fall of man, is almost universal. Everybody got a story relating to that, don't they? In Shinto, there's a belief that this connection was preserved by Amaterasu, who borrowed the ladder of heaven. And this belief is current too among the Montagnards of southern Vietnam. In these different contexts, the ladder clearly plays the same part as the world tree. Its symbolism is exactly the same as that of Jacob's ladder, with its angels descending and ascending. We just touched on that, right? As that of the ladder made from two Naga, on which Buddha came down from Mount Meru. That's really talking about the Ida and the Pingala, because Naga means serpent. And the serpents that surround the spinal column, which there are actually 33 rungs, or 32, on the ladder that deal with the body, but Mount Meru, represents the peak. This is the Mount Meru of the body. So when we talk about building the temples of man, then surely we have to have a ladder to climb upon when we get into the highest aspects of the things that we are trying to complete in the build. It takes a ladder in order to get up there into that divine mind. It says also as the mirage of Prophet Muhammad and the 7-notch birch trees of the Siberian shamans. So the 7 degrees of unfoldment as they relate to the 7 heavens that Muhammad had to go through in his mirage, his night journey. This too represent 7 steps as it relates to a ladder. So you have 3-step ladders, 7-step ladders. You got 12-step ladders that are mentioned within the Moorish paradigm. Keep this in mind. It should also be observed that the Vietnamese Emperor Minh Hung reached the moon with the help of a ladder. It says it is significant that the Siberian birch has 7 or 9 or 16 notches, and that Buddha's staircase is of 7 colors, and that the ladder in the mysteries was made of 7 metals, and that used in the Kadash by Masons of Scottish Rite has 7 rungs. To pass from earth to heaven requires the passage of 7 cosmic stages, corresponding to the 7 planetary spheres, and Dante's 7 liberal arts, which are also mentioned in the Kadash ladder. These liberal arts may correspond to more esoteric knowledge, the rungs to grades of initiation. As is patiently the case with the mythic mysteries, passing from the earth to heaven is accomplished in a series of spiritual states. Their order marked by the rungs of the ladder and symbolized as well by the angels on Jacob's ladder. If we confine ourselves to the means, we shall find that the notion of the ladder, climax in Greek, the word climax as it relates to this particular word is ladder, recurs among the early fathers and especially in St. John of Climacus, who derives his surname from one. The means evolved a strict graduation of spiritual exercises, mounting rung by rung. Thus wrote St. Simeon, the new theologian, the individual will succeed in raising himself from earth to ascending into heaven. St. Isaac the Syrian adds, the ladder of this kingdom is hidden within thee, in thy soul. Cleanse thyself therefore from sin, and thou shalt find the rungs whereon to mount up. Buddhists, jhana, are similarly depicted. In the mythic initiation, it was a symbol of mystical ascension. So yeah, they went into a whole bunch of measures. Like I said, I wasn't going to read all of this because it's very long and I got some teaching to do as it relates to our chapter. But there are some more measures I want to pull out of this before we move further. It says, as we have said, ladders are one of the symbols of ascension. They stand as units where the upper and lower, heaven and earth can meet. And they make a bridge in the sense used by Imblicus, where he issued the invitation to rise to the heights as though on a bridge or ladder. The whole of spirit life or spiritual life is expressed in terms of elevation, which is why St. Ambrose was to speak of the soul of the baptized person as rising to heaven. The Hebrew word salam, and this is not only Hebrew, this is actually an Arabic word too, which actually relates to the word where we get the word salam from in Islam and Muslim. But it says in the Hebrew, it's translated as scala. In the Vulgate, it recurs throughout the Old Testament. Jacob's ladder may be the best known example, but there are other significant uses, as in the 3 stories of Noah's Ark. Genesis 6 and 16, the 6 steps of Solomon's throne. And the steps also of Ezekiel's temple. In Psalms as well, they're mentioned as gradual psalms or songs or degrees. During her martyrdom, Saint Perpetua saw her ascension as a brazen ladder of extraordinary length mounting from earth to heaven, but so narrow that people could only climb it one behind the other. On the rungs were set spikes, hooks, and blades to tear the flesh of the unwary, and underneath the ladder, a huge dragon which tried to catch at the climbers and frighten them away from the ascent. This is a powerful demonstration. But it goes on, it talks about it as well. The early fathers in medieval mysticism constantly used rungs of the ladder between the earth and heaven in their symbolic shape. The soul always accomplishes its own ascent step by step. 3 stages of the beginning: preserving and completing of body, soul, and spirit. Beginning, preserving, and complete body, soul, and spirit, or the ways of purgation or purgation, enlightenment, and union. It states so many different degrees were to become traditional under the variety of titles. It goes on and on and on. Like I say, this is a long measure. And this is where I'm going to go into the definition that I will actually stop at. You have to get your hand on this particular book. It says again, as a symbol of ascension, a ladder has come to represent the ascent or the mirage of Muhammad, which we mentioned earlier. When the angel Jibril snatched the prophet up into heaven, as he ascended through the darkness, a magnificent ladder, mirage, appeared. It is towards this ladder that the dying direct their gaze, and it is used by the spirits of mankind to rise up to heaven. Sufis, the sheikhs of Tasawwuf, they consider ascension the symbol of the elevation of the soul as it slips the bonds of earth and attains mystic knowledge. The rungs of a ladder also symbolize the years of human life. Algerian peasants at Zakar and Shalif Valley still set headboards of olive wood on their graves, standing diagrammatically for the 7 heavens, it says, reached by the earthly ladder. In ancient Egyptian tradition, Ra's ladder linked heaven and the earth. The Egyptian Book of the Dead refers to a ladder which allows one to behold the gods. In ancient Egypt, the notion of the ladder was associated with the myth of the center of the world. However, all holy places can be centers and thus make contact with heaven. The Egyptians preserved in their funeral texts the expression of Asket Pet, which means step, which shows that the ladder offered to Ra for him to climb from earth to heaven was a real ladder. The ladder is a place or inner place for me to see the God, says in the Book of Dead. In great many tombs of old and middle kingdoms, amulets have been found bearing a picture of a ladder, which they refer to as maquette. This word actually, maquette, was preserved also in Arabic. A staircase. So yeah, these are some powerful demonstrations. There's a whole lot to be said, a lot more. But we're going to stop right there. Because that has made it plain and clear what these ladders are dedicated to. So now we understand with a greater clarity what Yehoshua was doing when he was climbing this 12-step ladder. With the tools that are utilized to build the dwellings of men. We know that we use the compass for the purpose of drawing circles around our passions and desires and keeping them within the bounds of righteousness. We use the square to keep our conduct square. All of this has to do with man. These are not tools that we are interested in utilizing, on the manifest outside of making a way of living. But there's no significance in using these tools in that particular way, in the operative way, so to speak, other than, building worldly structures. But those structures with the right storm and the right type of weather, can be undone. When you're dealing with a temple of perfected man or a temple of purity, these temples don't fall, with the greatest storm that come through. And I'm speaking of the storms that relate to the things that ones may experience in life, conditions. You see, when one is built up in such a way, they cannot be moved, they shall not be moved. So now let's go into, this is special drawing, family, as it relates to the chapter, and it relates to holy instructions for thy children. Remember, Yehoshua as a child was recognized as a day star. He was already being honored. And if we raise our more seeds up with the lesson we getting ready to go into, then they too will be honored. Their reputation will precede them long before, they reach the coming of age, where it's time that they must be about their father's work. We are told in the chapter, consider thou art a parent. Joseph was a parent to Yehoshua, right? His mother was as well. But the great God Allah, who fathered him and furthered him in his divine education, was the most grandiose degree of parenthood that Yehoshua could ever obtain. So along the side of having great parents of the manifest, when we go into his spiritual lineage, nothing could trump that. And we are told that we are to link our will up with deific will. So if our will is linked up with deific will, then we too can become a great parent. If our leadership come forth from the great God, not in a spooky way, but so that that child may be able to see every spirit as it relates to the attributes of the great God Allah. The spirit of love, the spirit of truth, peace, freedom, and justice. If one's will is linked up with deific will, then they will be able to see the love of God manifested through you. Islam. So the importance of thy trust, right? We are told the being thou hast produced is thy duty to support. Now we already know about the food, clothing, and shelter. These are things that must be brought forth as it relates to the carnal aspects of support. But the greatest duty of support is instilling the lessons that will ensure that that seed will become fisher of men. A fisher of men. So it states also, it goes on. It says, upon thee also it dependeth whether the child of thy bosom be a blessing or a curse to thyself, a useful or worthless member to the community. So in other words, that child is going to be a reflection of you. We're not raising young kids here, or young goats. We are raising children that are already provided for. by the care of the great God of law. So they're going to be all right anyway. But it's on us as it relates to the exposure, whether they receive these lessons and the blessing within the lesson or not. Even if it seems that they may go left or right, or, that don't mean that what you instilled in them ain't there. It may disappoint you even when I taught you better. I raised you up to be better than what it is you demonstrate. You have to take your hands off of the situation and say, all praise be to Allah. From him we all come, and to him we return. And also we have to be able to accept that when Noah, as a carpenter, given that particular work of building that ship, not just building a ship, but building a relationship between the people and the Most High. And he was being mocked and laughed at and everything else. And when the flood came in, those of his bloodline, some of them, they ended up having to be the example in history that we receive now. Because in the Grand Quran, he say, well, them ones ain't of you. They're of the evil one. Can you imagine how Noah felt to have to accept the fact that his seed was so evil to where the great God Allah would chastise them and they couldn't even enter the ark that he built, the dwelling of men? Can you understand how strong you would have to be? Now, we are told that Abraham was given that type of test to sacrifice his seed, and it was just to test him. But Quranically, Noah actually been through that. That brings us to the measure of our holy prophet when he said, when I was Noah. Can you imagine? And our prophet said he want to save us all, but it's only going to be a full of us saved. So it says, and this is our featured ayat, prepare him early with instruction. It even tell you that in the Piscean records. If you teach them, these things, while they're young, in their ways, then they pretty much would remain on the path of the Most High. Even if they may delay, or whatever the case may be, if you plant the right thing in them, then it will manifest fully as the seed is to unfold, just as the bud is beholding and unfolding to show the flower, the potential. So we are told, prepare him early with instruction and season his mind with the maxims of truth. This is not only for, even though it used, the expression of him and his, that doesn't negate, her. You see, in her mind with the maximum truth. So it's dealing with both, the young man and the young woman. Prepare them early with instruction. Season their mind with the maxims of truth. What are the maxims of truth? The maxims of truth actually relate to the truth. But these maxims are also synonymous with the wrongs of the latter. Said, watch the bit of his inclination. When we were talking about that curve in the ladder. And set him right in his youth, and let no evil habit gain strength with his years. So when you see one wavering, catch him early. It won't be so hard, in trying to correct the error as one becomes, an overgrown man. It says, so shall he rise like a cedar on the mountain. See, this is that ascension. his head shall be seen above the trees of the forest, right? All of this symbolic to the greatness. When you have completed a successful task of raising one up or teaching one how to climb that ladder. A wicked son is a reproach to his father, but he that doeth right is an honor to his gray hairs. Every father would love that their son follows in his footstep, especially if he has went through hellacious conditions. If he have came through all types of, conflict that can't be told in word. He don't want his son or daughter coming through those special things. But they don't get it a lot of time when you're trying to guide them. Unfortunately, they think that it is you, that is just, out of touch with time. That's just pops. That's mama. We got to find our own way. Yeah, it's different now in our time than it was when they was our age. You already know how they be thinking. And thinking they be right as on know what now. And this end up sometime becoming a tug of war, a conflict between parent and child and parent. This is what Willie Lynch intended. That mindset and attitude of self-refusement to where it keeps the household of our people unstable. You see, this is what happened when you go through those institutions that I like to call the middle passage, that train your children to be in opposition to what it is that you have to say. Because they teach you that the only successful person is that of European descent in those schools. So then the seed going through those special schools, through that middle passage, mentally being slaughtered, psychologically slaughtered, they begin to resent you. And now there's nothing that you can tell them due to their resentment, whereas you may have been considered their hero. But when they learn that their history, according to the European, has nothing to do with but that which has to do with slavery, and then they see that you are still in slavery, especially when some of these young ones go to studying and they realize that you have a slave mentality, and yet you claim to be so strong. It's the same thing as a result of you teaching them that lie about Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy. Once the jig is up, you become exposed as a liar. And therein lies the root of a lack of trust that your seeds have for you. Now it goes on and states the soil is thine own. Let it not want cultivation. This is your soil. The seed that came out of this soil belong to you, not nobody else. Now, the seed which thou sowest, that also thou shall reap. You sowed the seed and you gonna reap what you sow. So if you plant the seed in a soil of hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms, and you cultivate the seed within that special soil, you water it and allow it to grow and unfold, then you can't blame nobody but yourself, because you chose the soil to plant the seed in. And just as if it were the opposite, the soil is dying on. If you plant the seed in a soil that has to do with justice, mercy, love, and right, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, all of those being nutrients in the soil, so that the seed may be able to feed through its roots after it unfolds from that, then you will reap the benefits of the unfoldment of that special seed. But remember, it's your God. It's up to you. As it relates to what it is that you would demonstrate or do. So now that brings us to the 12-step ladder again. We are told, teach him obedience, and he shall bless thee. Teach him modesty, and he shall not be ashamed. Teach him gratitude, and he shall receive benefits. Teach him charity, and he shall gain love. Teach him intemperance, temperance, and he shall have health. That's very important. That bad temper, get them cortisol levels up. Next thing you know, you got heart attacks and strokes on the manifest. Teach him prudence, and fortune shall attend to him. We were talking about the wound of fortune the other day. We don't get caught up into fortune to the extent to where we think that goes beyond the predestination of Allah, but we understand what's being stated here. If you teach him prudence, that means his diligent, what is perceived in the world by fortune, it's going to come to him because of his good work and the intent, not by chance and gambling. Teach him justice, and he shall be honored by the world. Teach him sincerity, and his own heart shall not reproach him. Teach him diligence, and his wealth shall increase. Teach him benevolence, and his mind shall be exalted. Teach him science, and his life shall be useful. Teach him religion, and his death shall be happy. See, this is giving you all of the elements that are being utilized when it comes to the teaching that needs to be taught. Now, the way you teach these things, then that's your own genius, the way that you choose to teach these things. But again, you're really teaching one how to climb the 12-step ladder, to become a perfected man. Or if it's a daughter of yours, to become a perfected woman. See, now it makes sense. Now, I'm going to share my screen real quick. Let's see here. Get ready to open up a little bit. Okay. Let my grand secretary of the state in. Okay. There she go. So now, family, that you can see this right here. I'm telling you, family, what we demonstrating over here, man, our people don't know what they missing. Rome trying to make sure our people don't get it now. Trust me. Rome most definitely fighting tooth and claw to make sure our people don't get this knowledge that we putting out here, family. You see they flood, YouTube with a whole bunch of nonsense and garbage information. But when it comes to something that's uplifting, something that they should want the people to hear, they fight tooth and claw against it. So, if you go into our government website and you scroll down here, there was a chart that was created by our chairman that we had placed in here. We're going to do some renovation on the website as well, too. But if you notice here, it says theocracy. You see, at this time, we use the term Moorish American National Government. But if you notice, I was talking about that incline, the bent of one's inclination, watching the bent of the inclination. Now, let's look at the Moorish American National. Just putting the Moorish American National in the context of being the child being spoke of here. If every Moorish American national who followed the footsteps of the prophet, was dealing with moving up on the prophet's incline into the prophet's apparatus means government. Look that up, by the way. If the prophet said he was going to take his good Moors up on an incline, and an apparatus, and they was going to be able to look down upon the earth and see our people fleeing for their lives. Right now, we are in that time. Those of you who are here in this Moorish American government are in the prophet's apparatus. Don't let nobody tell you nothing different now. Because nobody out there that is claiming to be of the prophet's original Grand Major Temple, and we ain't saying this to get on no attack mode, we just telling you the truth. Because they like to attack other people and act as if they have a monopoly on Islamism. You got people now that are having hateful videos. I seen one brother say he'll, punch and one of them in their mouth. And the MST of A ain't raised nobody and helped nobody. I see young brother talking like that. We ain't even going there. But I see some young ones coming up on us, and that's how they talk it. They don't care what you saying. Y'all ain't did nothing but try to ride off the influence of other people that was out there teaching. Y'all was hiding. This is what these young brothers saying. And they giving honors to people like Taj Tariq Bey and, C. Freeman L. and C.M. Bay. They feel like these was the ones that was on the front line while everybody else in the organization was hiding. I'm just telling you, this is what the young brothers saying. I ain't saying this is what they saying. What I'm pointing out is the fact that when we deal with the MST of A as a lawfully chartered organization, the Moorish American government has never hated the MST of A. And we have never sought to replace the MST of A because we the Moorish American government. We ain't in no competition with no organization. What does an organization look like trying to compete with a government? So let's dispel the first straw man conflict. Moorish American government has never said that the flag that we fly, scimitar and star, with the same ingredients that the prophet mentioned in his questionnaire, is a red 5-pointed star. Green 5-pointed star on a red banner. It's just in the center of the circle. But we never had said that our flag is the flag of the Moorish Science Temple. So stop that. Stop the competition because we're not competing with you. I'm saying this for those who ever hear this in the future or now that may be listening. We're not in competition with no MST of A. Governments do not compete with organizations. The flag that we have represents the flag of all 60 million of our people because we understand international law. Moors like to have here and cherry pick through the prophet's information. So you will have those who look all over the prophet's statement when he said that the Moorish Science Temple of America was established for a useful and divine purpose of teaching our people to be better citizens of the United States of America. But then he made a distinction behind that, whereas the Moorish Divine and National Movement was founded for the purpose of uniting the Asiatic states. Problem is, our people in the lawfully chartered organization got so comfortable in being there in Sunday school, not realizing that there was a time you would have to come out of Sunday school and utilize the knowledge after learning how to be a citizen of the United States Now you are prepared for what the prophet truly intended when he said he was going to lead a European here long enough to teach the Moors how to run a government. So now that you know how to act and learn how to do or what not to do, so to speak, you're seeing it right now. You see the prime example right now in the present day rulership of Rome. You know what not to do. You know not to get up there acting crazy like you see. I ain't even got to go there. You know what I'm talking about. But he's teaching you how to run a government. We already know that's why we in the Moorish American government. Now y'all can keep staying over there in Sunday school, all you want to. We gonna deal with the fulfillment of prophets because we in the end time. And the end time is over with when it comes to being somebody else's property. If you know what self-determination is, it's over with when it comes to being somebody else's property. If you know what it means to govern yourself and you don't need nobody looking over you. What's wrong with you, Moors? To where you fear being the executive ruler of yourself. You fear governing yourself. You make every excuse to govern yourself. You don't want to do it, but then you sit on the sideline and try to put a monkey wrench in the prophet's apparatus. You fighting against your own salvation. Where they do that at? Not over here. So if you look at what we're showing you, coming up out of the lawfully chartered organization on an incline, unfolding from a level of just merely believing, unfolding from a level of just having faith into the wrong of fruition. That's the 3-step ladder. That's how you build a temple of purity, going up on the incline. But then when you go to the right, you see the same ladder that we were talking about. Obedience is the first rung. If you don't know how to obey your higher self, then you can forget about moving to modesty. And that's the problem. We think obedience means somebody hitting us across the head or lashing us up with a whip or something. That's the only time we ever know. Toby, obey your master. Yeah. You see? All that type of goodness gracious. So if you can't go beyond obedience and knowing what obedience is, obedience to the higher self, you ain't going to move to the degree of modesty. You ain't going to get to the degree of gratitude, charity, temperance, health, prudence, justice. Don't it get greater seem like the higher you get sincerity, diligence, benevolence, religion, and the science of happiness. Don't forget about that either. This is what a law found of the tribe of Ali gonna be found. There ain't no Native American the way that they've been teaching it to you, where you gotta have one drop of blood of the children that come from you. What type of foolishness did that make in sense? Every walk of life, it is safe to say, and we done proved this, is part and parcel of the lost and found tribe of Ali if you found yourself. If you in this Moorish American government right now, you ain't here by chance. You here because you found yourself. Here it is. Redemption. You ain't going to get no redemption from no UCC 1s and 2s and that garbage paperwork. Stop it. I'm going to take my good Moors up in an apparatus on an incline until it's all over with. Look up the word apparatus if you think I'm lying. It means government. So the state jurisdiction, that's what you're being raised from. Holy prophets say that they would take this movement down so low, it would disappear from the face of the earth. So you know how it is to be a citizen under the United States government. You're doing that good. But when it comes to this movement, divine and national movement, that's where you drop the ball at. What about the uniting of the Asiatic states? We got a job of uniting the Asiatic states. That's the job of the Moorish American government. Because the organization ain't been doing that. Government is the only thing that can unite our people. That don't mean we going against what the prophet originally established in the MST of A. We just know the prophet's MST of A is not here. And I challenge you, for anybody that's running around here lying, trying to act like they pushing against us. Again, governments don't compete with organizations. Ask them for their address and go and pick up the actual the flyers, for the convention, and you will see the 15 chartered temples of the prophet. And they all have an address where that temple was. So if any of these Moors around here that like that, and I'm talking about the one that want to challenge you. I ain't trying to beat up on no Moors because they in the MMST of A, but when they come at you trying to challenge you, because you in this Moorish American government, we don't bite our tongue over here. They know. It's all smoke when we speak over here. The individuals that's challenging you and telling you that ain't what the prophet brought, ask them what's the address to that temple. And then line that up with them addresses that the prophet got on them 15 temples. And I'll wait after that right there. And that's how you're going to see who really following the prophet. Then you're going to find out, okay, well, let's go find out what happened to the prophet's original temple. And then you'll see what happened. So we ain't finna go back and forth over that. But we know the prophet took his temple with him. Only thing that he told us is he was going to teach us from the plane of soul. They got a European out here I seen the other night. Man, he went into the prophet teacher. He was talking about that. A European now. This is a new one. This ain't the normal one. This one went in there and did a whole breakdown on Prophet Noble Ali. Yeah, he say Prophet Noble Ali say he will be able to go, and better aid his people from the plane of soul. Even the European telling the truth. So that includes the prophet instructing all young men and women from the plane of soul. He the one that's teaching you really how to climb this ladder. All your earthly parents do is they just give you the vessel that the prophet can work with you through. But most of us, we didn't grow up in Moorish science. We came into it later. So who do you think it is that was guiding you? It was your obedience to the higher dictates of life that led you here. That's what made you worthy to climb the first rung. You see? So if he's teaching you from the plane of soul, then wouldn't he give you a divine constitution? Wouldn't you unfold from the general law of the organization into the supreme law of the nation? I'm meaning unfolding from being a mere member of a lawfully chartered organization to a citizen of your own government. I'm meaning unfolding from a mere expression of lawfully chartered organization of just being MST of A into your Moorish American government. It don't get no plainer than the truth, Moors. And the truth is the only thing that changes now. So wouldn't he be teaching you from the plane of soul? If you don't believe this, then you don't believe in Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And you think he dead. When in the Grand Quran it tell you, do not say of those who are slain in the way of Allah that they are dead, nay, they live on, though you perceive it not. That's a basic Islamic teaching. But the Prophet told you that he could better aid and assist his people from the plain of sword. I'm paraphrasing. Because there the enemy can't hide. You don't believe that? You thought he was just saying that? You don't think that he's aiding and assisting us now? You don't think that our National Grand Sheikh Emeritus, National Grand Mufti Emeritus, this is an African principle. Our people going into the ancestral plane and aiding and assisting their people. You seen it depicted in the movie Black Panther. When the brother T'Challa went up there, he seen all his Panther ancestors. That's a real demonstration, man. Unless you believe that the prophet is a liar. So if he said that he would better aid and assist us, then wouldn't he pass down a declaration of proclamation and status and jurisdiction as well? Wouldn't he pass down a flag, a seal, and an emblem as well? Huh? Man, I got both of my pant leg rolled up. I done got stirred up over here. So, Moorish kin, except you don't be yourself. It's time to build. You have been taught to climb your 12-step ladder. This is your ancestral constellation as well. Go into Mathino's archives. We go into a grand breakdown on how to hold a thought. Can you hold a thought of obedience? Can you hold a thought of modesty? And so forth and so on. Islam. So we're going to open up the floor, Moorish Ken. I said all that need to be said, at this particular point. And we just say gratitude with a divine attitude. We love you with love and divinity. And at this time, we're going to we'll open up the floor for our family. And all is well. Islam, Brother Justice L.B.
As always, special honor to our National Grand Chief and our National Grand Champ, Morris America, empowered to make law and enforce law with the system of the prophet and the Grand Bible of Morris America. And honor to our National Assistant Grand Chief, because the Assistant Grand Chief is the Assistant Grand Chief in all the passes, is according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and known before the citizen of Morris America. We know the prophet did say, brought everything safe to save the nation. I take it to save ourselves. He says, I can get you to thinking you'll save yourself. And I'll be quick 1 minute, and I'm going to cut some of it off because I know everybody want to try to get in due to time. Our subject matter is prepare him early with the instructions and season his mind with maximum of truth. And Dr. Saeed, when you demonstrate your class tonight, and you talk about season him with maximum amount of truth, then you don't talk to when it comes to our children, you don't talk to children goo goo gaga or what have you. We know that's wrong behavior. We talk to our children. I mean, so they can understand. We know this language English ain't the best in the world, but this is what we have. And the prophet brought us everything, and he did not goo goo gaga us. He brought us directly to us. And when you talked about children, yes, I don't mind. I acknowledge that because we're being taught, talking back to the beginning, because the prophet brought you everything it takes to save the nation. Yes, I am a student of the Holy Prophet of throughout. If you want to say children, fine with me, because I'm still here learning and trusting Allah, trusting the Holy Prophet without a doubt out front.
I was looking at just a few things. I'm gonna get to the other little part of your class. I was looking at Act 3 and Act 4 when they talked about teaching them the maximum truth, because we that's what we're supposed to be doing. Talk straight to the children, straight and divine, so that they can understand as they get older. They have a better understanding, without a doubt. If and buts and maybe. Act 3 said, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Morris America. No citizen put in danger, accuse falsely his brother or sister on occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister because Allah is love. Act 4, all citizens must observe the holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Morris American, you're a part and parcel of the government and must live their life accordingly. And I'm gonna move on. And that is the truth, because it doesn't say anything about have any baby language you teach anyone. He told us to teach. He let us know to teach our children to proclaim and practice. That's what just straight, direct, divine talk to them. Preserve, so that they can preserve the holy and divine laws above the next. So we have more American children here in the government now who is learning, and they're not being taught goo goo gaga. They're being taught who made them, Allah, the great God of the universe. They're being taught their nationality, their divine creed. They're learning, and then when you learn, you be direct with your children. You don't talk these in what they call baby talk. That's wrong, because that's wrong behavior. And in the class you were saying, who else can give these grand keys to us? Nobody but the Holy Prophet Noble Drew, coming directly from the great God of the universe. Yeah, that was other teachers and all, but the Holy Prophet Noble Drew, they brought us everything it takes to save a nation. Praise Allah for our Holy Prophet Noble Drew. And so you talk about we lay foundation. Yes, we do lay a foundation, because the prophet was sent here by Allah for us with a foundation, because he brought us everything. Our Constitution, you name it, we have it all. And to get to it quickly, this is what we're doing for the ones that come behind us. Children and all. Children and all. Laying a foundation for them so that they can get these laws and lessons, know who made them, and know that they have a home, the Morris American government, the most powerful government in the world, and so that they can continue to work and keep it moving with the Holy Prophet Noble Drew out front. And it says, they didn't want you to know we was God connected. I wrote out connected with the great God of the universe. No, they did not. I mean, do you know how much power that is? And when you give me laws and let them learn that we're the first people and we're the creator of everything, we're the one who created them. I mean, there's so many things that have been brought to us. And then with this powerful teaching, committed teaching, then, just so much. And it's not difficult to, as some would like to say, digest. You just got to continue to keep on studying. And I'm moving along. It said the method diet they had for our people that we are on. So it's still on today. The method diet. We had us believe in Jesus. No such thing. Letter David coming some 200 plus years later. Had us believing that we was nothing. Had us believing in these hosts, ghosts, and things of this nature. Had us serving God that we knew nothing about, or nothing about. Had us believing, had us looking down in the ground and with these behaviors about Satan, the devil. If you do certain things, the devil gonna get you. You don't go to church, the devil gonna get you. All types of long lies and exaggerated stories. Think about our European education they had, threatening the parents and all of these different illusions they were taking our people through. Had us under their fingers, their thumb, and controlling us. And we didn't know any better. Just acting like slaves because we didn't know. It says, so we are going to teach our people to be strong, climbing the ladder. And I went on there with that Holy Prophet Noble Drew out front. And that's important. Because see, when you was talking about the ladder, you was talking about the divine ladder. See, the tools, the workshop of mind. These tools were being used to fix things as you climb that ladder. And we're talking about true, powerful, divine spirits here. Because there's always, your host demonstrated, there's work to do. That's why he was climbing with the axe and with the hammer and you know, not to try to catch off, but I do know those tools were there. And they was there to fix things as he was climbing that ladder. And we know, and with me, when you said, we talk about the 12-step ladder, I look at it the way 100,000 miles each step. 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 years each step. There's no limit to a will of God. So that's when you talk about that ladder.
Please enter your PIN followed by the pound or hash. Thank you.
Things to fix. There's things to fix on the journey of climbing that ladder. There's an unlimited climb. And you're just like going on, just like taking a trip. If you're going on a long journey, you're going to take the tools that you need. We can use hiking for an example. If you're going hiking, you're going to need water. There's tools you're going to need for digging and climbing and cutting and building sides and things. And those tools are the workshop of the mind is needed. That was demonstrated by Yehoshua. That light that you was talking about is above the neck so that when you have that light, that's that conscious where it getting these long lessons being turned on so you can see the truth.
Islam Mufti, can you hear me, brother?
See the truth.
Can you hear me?
Islam?
Time never was, brother.
Yes, sir.
Time never was.
Praise Allah. Yes, sir. Praise Allah. I want to see you for the great class tonight. Because I tell you talked about so much, and just I want to see you for the great class. Islam and peace.
Islam and peace, brother. All right, Islam. Next more. Islam, goddess. You got the flow.
Yes, sir. God, man, Saeed. Sir, if you could tell me the topic tonight, I would appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, that's no problem, sister. The topic is Ayat 3 of new chapter 46. Prepare him early with instruction and season his mind with the maxims of truth. Islam.
Yes, sir. Islam is our religion. This is Sister Cammy in Michigan. I need to rise, honor, and pray to great God Allah. Honor His prophet, noble through all the official citizens, Moors here, there, and everywhere, especially my Moorish kin. As far as the Moorish perspectives tonight, I'm having conflict with my earthly family because they had a difficult time accepting that I have completely converted to Islam. I did that around 10, 15 years ago. So I'm having conflict with my earthly family regarding that. As far as tonight, you spoke of so many things and you hit home so many times. That being as Moorish as ever and the perspective on your demonstration. There's a demonstration that becomes a part of your life. Being as Moorish as ever is a part of the way I live my life. Fruit, vegetable, peas, and beans. That's what the prophet said eat. When I feel the need to study, I study. pull out that Moorish Holy Quran, pull out the big book, little book. I'll pull them out. And I don't open it to any page in particular. I just open it and start reading. And it's been times of doing that has brought me some type of peace in that demonstration. Sometimes the Moorish American prayer is the best I could do based on where I'm located. But I'm praising the Lord all day, every day. I'm praising this collective all day, every day. Some of you may have known, may already know I was recently diagnosed with kidney disease. And the doctor is very controlling in my demonstration. I'm about to switch over to more science. Leave those Europeans alone. Gratitude.
Islam, Sister Gratitude. All right, next more. Islam, nuts and bolts. Not allowed. Apples and oranges up in here. Islam. Stick to the subject matter. One band, one sound. We know you on point, brother. Daniel Bay. Islam.
South Carolina consul agent. Excuse me, brother. First I rise, you give praise and glory to Allah, the most merciful. And I give honor to his holy and divine prophet, the Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, the last prophet in these days of time. And I give honors to Act 1 of our divine constitution. And I honor you, brother, and all those who opened the way for us more this evening. I honor Act 1, all my Moorish officials, all my Moorish kin. Peace and blessings, peace and love. Well, you know, brother, I was talking to a brother today, and I was saying that we have to teach our own children. Because see, if you just, oh, they can do this and they can do that, they got an opportunity to do this and they got it up. No, it don't work like that. Because if you don't have a constitution that you live by, a seal, an emblem, something that you're proud of, that you can call your own, a government, like you say, this apparatus that the prophet brought to lift us up out of our conditions. And it's, you can't expect, see, I see our teenagers all day, but the thing is, he's in somebody else's hand. He's up under another man's curriculum. Like we already know, like the prophet told us, it take a more to teach a more to be a more. You see, his history is his story, and he keep getting on ETV and all these places. His programs on the television, his programs on the radio, his programs in this society. We need something we can hold on to and call our own, and that is our divine constitution. Our bylaws. How we live, how we treat one another, and how to love instead of hate. See, the prophet gave us everything, but see, we look out and say, why them children? No, because they're in somebody else's hands, but we got to start with our babies. Well, we teach those who are teachable, but we got to start with the babies. He teaching this European teacher that the little light-skinned called people are Indians, little $5 Indians, because that's his story. Because he done killed so many and masturbate with so many of our women, you know what I'm saying? Because he was looking for India when he landed here, you see? But he named it Indians, and now they talking about, well, they gave us a casino. They give us so many $1,000 when we turn 18. But see, that should show us right there. He created them so he can still give to them and not give to you, because he know who you is. We don't know who we are. So our gathering
in this government right here, it takes our unity. You know, that's our strength. That's where our strength at, and our love for each other. So we have to teach. That's all I'm saying. Just teach, teach, teach. No matter who. If they don't listen, so be it. You dropping seeds. You see. And the thing is, you know, when we teach our children the maximum of truth, teach them everything about this government, teach them everything that was taken from them. You know, teach them all the like the way the Pharaoh gave us this land and Ethiopia means the dividing point and all these things right here. And they don't know that. All they know is television, playing, you know, sports, competition. You know, it's all to keep them off balance because they have no culture. They have no life, but they think they do because they can smile all day. You see? Because they feel happy. They don't know what they're happy about. They don't know what real, true happiness is. So we know this, you know, and it's upsetting when somebody else that, you know, want to say that, well, each one got an opportunity to do the, how you got an opportunity? He don't even know how to think like a Moor. You see? He's thinking just like they want him to think. He even though he look like you, he think like he was programmed to think, indoctrinated to think. So when we understand that, you know, ain't nothing smiling about it. It's about understanding that we've been indoctrinated, we've been denationalized. We are not under our own government. We could be separate but equal to all other nations of the earth. That's the right way to do it, you know. And I'm not giving up my rights like that. You see, so it's like when I start talking about them little $5 Indians, them little light-skinned Caucasian looking Indians talking about they Indians, they native to the land and all that. That's history. He done killed so many people off and amalgamated with so many and lined them up till we think and put them in books and television. And that's his cowboy Indians, you know. But he want us to believe it because we grown people with so-called PhDs and still waiting on somebody to come out and save us instead of doing for ourselves under our own government, you know, because it takes a government. It takes unity. And that's, you know, this is the apparatus that we can gather under, you know, and have principles and character and constitution and all these things right here. This is where our children should be. We have the God-given right to coach our own children. That's why he wanted to get in the classroom with us. He used that psychology. Well, you can't sit here. You can't sit here. You free. I want to sit there. I can sit there. He was just trying to make you sit there anyhow so he could take everything you hate. You know, like in 1922, 21 in Oklahoma, when he saw how we was prospering, because that's what that Belgians do. So he studied that. He said that'll never happen again. You know, we had our own Wall Street, we had our own schools, our own buses. We were doing it. They couldn't have that because they know we'll surpass everything that they got if we just give them a chance to do for ourselves like the prophet told us. That man got a way of redirecting himself if given a chance and they get out your way. Peace and blessing. Great class, brother.
In Islam, brother Larry Daniels Bay, gratitude for that measure. Praise be to Allah. Islam, brother Muhammad Bay.
Gratitude. Yes, this is Dr. Girl. I mean, Muhammad Bay of the South Carolina Consulate. I want to give praise to our Father God of Allah. I want to give honors to his holy prophet, our holy prophet, Prophet Noble Ali, the last prophet of these days and times. I want to give honors to our Moorish American government. I want to give honors to our Moorish American nation. I want to give honors to Act One and all the officials of our Moorish American nation and its government. I want to give honors to all those that open up the way, for this Moorish perspective study session this evening, sponsored by our own Moorish American government. I want to give honors to those that spoke before me and those that will speak after me. And I want to give honors to absolutely everything Moorish. Man, I'm not going to be too long. Brother, you know, this was a very, very uplifting and revealing subject matter that you put forth tonight. There were certain aspects that stood out for me. The main thing that stood out for me, you know, I believe it's in, and I could be wrong, but I believe it's in chapter 4, round about ayat 9.
verse 9. I could be wrong. And it's revealed to us that men comprehend the inner meanings of life by what they see and do. Now, even though it says men, those of us that know, we understand that this is applicable. It applies to both young and old, male and female, because we know that many of us, especially those of us that are in this sacred grove university, we were children, infantile, in our ways of thinking, our ways of speaking, and our ways of living before we met our holy prophet. So this is very, very key in reference to the subject matter, right? Because again, the saying is, children learn what they live. This is so powerful because the prophet taught us, right? If we would know, because we can't teach what we don't know. But the prophet taught us that if we would know, we must be that which we know. So what is revealed here is that even though in the past, in that state of being Negro, colored, black, African American, all those government-defined labels, many of us were very sincere in trying to teach what we thought, or as we would say in the Moorish paradigm, what we believed to be the truth to our children, because we didn't know the truth. But now, the prophet said again, this is a new era of time now, a subject matter that you covered very well, brother, right? And our Father God Allah is raising those who are being given the knowledge, understanding on how to be that which they know, to be that truth, to be that cultural aspect that we are living, that we should live, right, so that our children and ourselves, we can actually see that living aspect of these teachings. All of those principles of the 12-step ladder that our children and our adult children need to see in us as a living example. This is what I got. This is so key, right? See, it's more of the living example instead we lead by example. Yes, we have to give those words, but you know how they say, especially when it comes to children. They watch us more than they listen to us. This is what I got from the class. This is a grand, magnanimous class, brother. Islam and gratitude. Thanks for letting me share. Peace and love.
And gratitude for sharing, Brother Muhammad Bey. We give honors to you, brother. Praise be to Allah. Straight into the point. Well, all right. Is there any other more who would like to come forth and exercise their 5? Islam?
National Grand Chief of class today. Sean Washington, Emma Cut, Rob Bale, from the Michigan territories. All right. We give all praise to the great God Allah. I give all honors to the last prophet of all time, Sharif Abdul Ali, and which Ali. Give all honors to this dead credit Moorish government for the apartments. We're leaving the lights on, the doors open. Give all honors to this dead credit Moorish government flag. I give all honors to Marcus Garvey. I give all honors to the Prophet's Lessons, the Zuma of the Nation, the 101s, 102s. I give all honors to the Divine Constitution, Act 4, Act 5. And I give all honors to the Book of Ali, the Holy Quran. It's a grand topic, proper class. It's a couple of subjects you was talking about, like
Islam. Can you hear me, brother? You need to, you know the subject matter? Yeah, but do you know the subject title though? Do you know the subject title?
What's the subject title?
It's prepare him early with instruction and season his mind with the maxims of truth. Islam.
I was off doing around. I had something to do. I was here, I was on the class call listening, but I'm not out here trying to challenge these like the organizations. Like I've been challenged too. I've been challenged out here. I had more last year trying to challenge me about this government, and I said, no, brother, that's. I mean, you in a more side trouble. That's cool. I was telling him, I said, no, we got to fall into the Moorish government, and and he kept running his mouth. I said, all right, brother, then I kept it moving, he want to argue, so I was like, all right, brother. I said, I'm not knocking you, and that's where they mindset at. These organizations, they think, like you said, they got too comfortable, because the prophet said in Doom of the Nation that we got to follow to the government, and the Mossad Temple was a school of thought at the time when he was the founder. When he founded the first temple, was the Canaanite temple, 1913. Then he switched over. Then he went to Chicago. Then Detroit. He had a temple in Detroit, Temple 4. Cause he used to come in up here in Detroit back in the like 1920s, and and the temple today right now it's not. I'm hearing a lot of people saying that it's not ran right no more. They're not flying the flag, the Moroccan flag. I know that's not mine, but there's a lot of them. The Moors is in an organization. They're not part of it no more. I had a Moor told me that the other day. It's not ran right no more. So that's why I came into this Moorish government. I had to fold. And that was just a school of thought at the time. The prophet told us in the lessons. And they gonna challenge you. People gonna challenge you. Like I said, I got it like 3 times. I kept it moving. Because the Mooraside Temple is it's a religious organization. It's still under the corporation. And they not gonna really listen. I'm not like I said, I'm not challenging nobody. I'm just looking at this government right here. My home. I'm proud of my national seal. I got my national flag. You know what I'm saying? I'm proud of my lessons. So we got everything we need. We just the people just ain't on point. We'll be telling them. And that's how we are as some of our people. We want to go a different direction. We want to do our own thing. We want to start our own government. And I tell them this is the true government right here. President Bay was the founder. This is home. Not an organization. They still stuck. They still want to be stuck like church. And they still singing old hymns like gospel. They still stuck. Cause the prophet told them. He said this is a Moorish. He said this ain't a organization. He said it's a Moorish national movement. Grand class, peace and love, Islam.
Islam, more. I want you to keep this in mind. Allah is the one that make the Muslim. So, at every time we get up here, and when we address our family tonight, we address what we call distinctions so that our family will never act or feel like we trying to take something from them. And we don't get up here to castigate or, instigate or none of that type of demonstration when we address them. We just address all of our people in truth. And we address our people in every lawfully chartered organization the same way. None of them are a government. That is no attack on them. That go for those who deal with Western Freemasonry, the church, NAACP, NOI, all of those are lawfully chartered organizations. And if ones get mad with you for saying that, then that's a whole nother measure. You know, we are just making the distinction that we are the Moorish American government. We ain't no 501c3. We ain't no non-for-profit demonstration. This is the Moorish American government. You know, and so we just say praise be to Allah. But the grand degree family is the focus is on dealing with your seeds, teaching them instruction. You see, that's what we were trying to emphasize. Season the mind of your seeds with the truth. You know, season the mind of your people with the truth, the maxims of the truth. These are the 12 rungs of the 12-step ladder. Teach them how to climb the ladder, family. You know, that's what you got to do. Because you're going to have opposition coming from many different areas. If you ain't built for it, you're going to have to get out the way. You know, are you going to get ran over by that opposition? You know, I done had opposition just like my chairman. Chairman done had opposition over 50 years. It's individuals done been on here almost 20 years, like 17 years. I've been going back and forth trying to teach our people the truth, and they've been fighting me tooth and claw. But I don't worry about that per se. I just put the teaching out there. You know, some of them getting what they want, taking from it and doing whatever they want to do with it. I ain't concerned with that. You know, I'm concerned with the people getting the truth. You know, angels don't care who get wet when they make it rain. Islam, and they don't care who trying to keep from getting wet neither. So gratitude at this time, we're going to go ahead and call for our officials. Starting with our sister Dendra Curtis Bay. Islam, you there, sister? Islam, God.
Islam, gratitude, God man, gratitude. Dr. Dendra Curtis Bay, National Assistant Grand Secretary of State. Dr. Dendra Curtis Bay, first let me rise and give praises to our great God Allah. I give honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to everyone. I give honors to all my government officials, and I give honors to our National Assistant Grand Chief for opening us up according to law, and we give honors to our National Council General of Texas, Dr. Marvin Evans Day, for reading a chapter of the week and taking registration. And I tell you, Dr. Shaheed, wow, this class has so many mind-changing thoughts, and you brought about so many good points. And I'm just going to try to sum all of them up because I had a couple of pages, but you started out in talking about where your subject is prepare him early with instructions and season his mind with the maximum of truth. And we can go on and on and on just by prepare him early with instructions and season his mind. When I think about seasoning, you think about when you seasoning your food or something and causing it to be preserved and causing it to have a good flavor. And talk about the maximum of truth. And when you was talking about that 12-step ladder, you just broke that down. Definitely going back and listen to the playback. But I loved it how you just brought that to us and dealing with the 12-step ladder, climbing that 12-step ladder, how that 12-step ladder kind of bends, but we have to climb that 12-step ladder. And then you got into the bulk of your teaching when you start talking about going back to the subject. You talked about how we so mistrust, and this just was mind-boggling to me. How you broke that down on how we not knowing any better, so mistrust in our children by telling them those lies, those little lies that they told us to tell them about Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and all of that, not realizing that we were sowing discord in our children. And that was so powerful, God, man, how you brought that out and how so subtle that was. Because I can remember even my own self, the mother against the daughter, son against the father, and not realizing the reason we was against our parents and things like this is because that division had been subtly sown within us way before we even knew what was happening to us. When they was telling us these little lies about Santa Claus this and all those little old stories, those were just little subliminal ways to sow that discord in us, and we didn't even realize what was going on. And you talked about us being on the incline, how the prophet was taking us up the apparatus on an incline, and how God, man, I don't know where my mind was. I tell you, Dr. Shaheed, you just got me. I'm trying to hold myself there because I'm so excited and this information you has given us. I don't know where my mind was when you were talking about we are in the apparatus now. For some reason, I believe I might have been thinking that that was something yet to come. I know all the prophecies are coming true, but I think I was thinking in terms of that was something that was going to come, come later, in our lives. But like you said, we are in that apparatus now, and realizing that this divine movement, this Moorish American government, this is the apparatus that the prophet was talking about, and this government is that apparatus that he was going to take us up on the incline in, and how we was going to be watching, looking down on the Moors. It ain't no spaceship, family. So some literal spaceship that's gonna come and beam you up like on Star Trek, beam you up into some ship, and you're gonna be protected from everything. No, it's talking about being in this government. See that's why so many they want to get you out of this government, because they know this is the real thing. Like the God man say, we are a government. We not an organization. This is not only a government. This is the divine movement of the great God Allah. And family, you better recognize what you got. We have to recognize what we got. This is Allah's movement. You need to be protecting this. The prophet said, he said, protect all of this. You should be protecting this. And you should be taking care of this. And you shouldn't have to pull your teeth for you to come give measures in this government. Oh, family, this is so powerful. This is the apparatus that the prophet was talking about, that he was going to take you up in. But you want to run and run somewhere else. You want to follow up the other gods that you don't even know nothing about. Oh, Dr. Shaheed. Oh, let me close this thing out. And last but not least, when you was talking about how the European was teaching the truth about the prophet and things of this nature, you see, the prophet knows some of us, when we talking about it, they ain't gonna believe us because the way we look. But if a European say it, oh, they'll believe him. So prophet say he gonna make them tell the truth too. So if you don't believe us, yeah, well, I guess you believe. See, they'll believe him. They'll believe that European. So, Dr. Shaheed, I tell you, I give you honors, God, man. You have really just got me so fired up here. I'm just gonna stop right there, and gratitude, God, man, for calling me for Islam. But this is a powerful class. Peace and love.
And peace and love to you as well, Goddess and Queen. One thing we know, it don't take long to set your soul on fire with love and holy zeal. And we most definitely know that, you are definitely taking these lessons and increasing them sevenfold. Praise be to Allah. Islamism without the schism Well, all right. Let us call forth our national Grand Mufti, Dr. Khonshu Mark Heru Bey, the Moor with the mind of a clarity of 1,000 Moors. Islam, you there, Grand Man? Man, just as Moorish as ever. Islam, you just took that scimitar out that oil. Islam.
Praise Allah for you, Muslim. We rise first and foremost and give our thanksgiving, adoration, worship, and our praise to the Father God Allah, the great God of the universe, the most beneficent and the most wise. And we give the highest honors that we can give to his prophet. Our prophet, the last prophet of these days and times, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, came vaulting over those tombstones of Negro, color, and black to set us all free. The savior of humanity. We give honors to his forerunner, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and we give honors to his government. Our government, the Moorish American government, the government in which we live. According to Act 6, we give honors to the officials of this said government. Our divine ministers and our swift angels, our mufti, our royal council, our secretaries. We give honors to our citizens, the Moorish Americans. We give honors to our flag and our divine constitution and bylaws, Holy Quran, our Grand National Seal, our Grand National Emblem, our Book of Fire, the exhument of a nation. We give honors to everything that is Moorish. We give a special high honors to you, National Grand Sheikh, Dr. Shadu Aminti Medu Shepsuel, for bringing forth the Grand Moorish perspective this evening and setting the measure straight. We give honors to all of the Moorish kin who have spoken before us, to our Moorish kin that will speak after us. We give honors to you, angels, and we continue to give the honors where they're due in honoring all true and divine prophets. And we give honors to our ancestors. They came before us, leading the way. We are them today without doubt or contradiction, because no one has the power to change man from his descent nature. And praise Allah for that. And that's one of those maxims of truth. That's one of those divine instructions that we gotta teach to our children. Because one thing about understanding the maxim is making it simple, making it giving you the fundamentals of how to always see the truth. You know, that's why I always bring that demonstration forth at the end of our measure, because that's, to me, is the summation of that. You know, no one can change you from your descent nature. You know, there's no way that they can turn you from an apple to an orange. There's no way they can turn you from, you know, an apple to some strawberries. You know, it's like you are who you always have been, and that's a maxim of truth right there. That you're never going to be other than what you are, and this is why it's important. You know, that when I give the instructions, this is why the Prophet put in there the holy instructions. When you look in the Bible, when you look in the Quran, Mecca, you don't say instructions. Our demonstration say holy and divine instructions. Say, you know, instructions meaning this is what you're supposed to do. Not no conjecture or, you know, just a philosophical debate or thought pattern. This is more than philosophy. This is a way of life. This is Islamism. This is what we have, and this is, in order for that to continue to flourish, as the Prophet said, you got to give one instructions early. You know, make it a part of their life. You know, in the Piscean, we want to talk about raise the child up in the way they should go, and in the elder years, they're not going to depart. You know, you're going to go on autopilot. Just like when you drive home every day from your job, and you don't even think about the lefts and rights that you take, and next thing you know, you're at the house because you're on autopilot. When you give one of the maxims of truth from the get-go, then when things is like that, when you on autopilot,
it's gonna roll with truth. It's gonna roll the right way because that's the way you've been doing it. That's the way it's been brought to you, and that's the way you've been living it. And so the prophet brought something for us, that scientific thought pattern. That's why we more scientists, because there's a certain maxim to how you can find out the truth about a thing, and that's the scientific process. You look at it, you inspect it, and you go into your thought pattern of what you think it's going to do, and you come up with some kind of hypothesis or way to test that, and you test it, and from your results, from your observations, you come up with, what your findings are, and then you move forward from that. Either you was right or your thought pattern needs to be tweaked. But that can always be brought to the forefront, to the truth. And that's spookism. So what we find is that we roll with the truth, something that can be brought forth, proved not through just science, but through reasoning, willing, understanding, remembrance, the actions of the soul. When we do this is important. This is why it's a grand class, because we got to, always look at that. The prophet talked about made it so simple that a baby can understand. We're not here in no competition with no one else. We are being what we're supposed to be, a part of the grand body of this holy and divine movement. Everybody ain't gonna be the head. Everybody ain't gonna be the hand. Everybody ain't gonna be the foot. You know what I mean? There's one's gonna play different portions of this grand body of Moorish America and how we see things. So we're not here to do the purpose of the lungs. We here as the highest point, the thought pattern that governs the rest of the body. That's the mind. You know what I mean? So it's the spirit of the thing. One could be the organization. Organization it could be a kidney, it could be a liver. That's just a portion of the grand body. But that kidney or liver or lung, that's not going to be the whole of the body. But if we look at the skeletal or nervous system of a being, because we got to look at the cell, then everything stems from the brain. So those is compartmentalized. And so this is what we drawing off of. That's the maximum truth we can show from the very get-go. Son or daughter, check it out. Look. As above, so below. As within, so without. As you are created and there's a divine imprint upon yourself, you can look outside in the universe and see the same divine imprint and how it's created with the Fibonacci scale, the golden mean, these other things that we know put into the codex or the programming of the universe. And that's God's fingerprint. And if you start with these maxims, everything else is going to fall into place. So, we can keep going because this is a grand drawing. Grand shape that you brought forth today, and like I said, bringing that clarity to the forefront. Because our lives not no author of confusion. We are here not to be no agents of confusion. We're here to be those angels that bring forth the light and rain on ones like the storm, and then keep moving. So gratitude for this class, and gratitude to you, Moorish America, for being here with us and giving us the time, attention, and respect. We love you. Islam and peace.
And Islam and peace to you as well, Grand Mufti. Gratitude for that grand drawing and the divine attitude to come with it. I encourage our family too, to get their hands on a copy of Grey's Anatomy, and study it alongside of the maxims of the truth, and understand, what the way the body activates and works. There's something within us that we can pretty much identify with a function in these lessons. These same 12 rungs on the ladder within the brain would correspond, so to speak, with the 12 cranial nerves. But that's a whole nother measure. So yeah, we give honors to you, Grand Mufti. We know exactly where you're coming from. Islamism without the schism, God, man, the word made flesh. Well, all right. Well, let us call forth our National Grand Secretary of the State, Sister Shepsut Rakat Ma'at and Putut the Common Bay. And we already know that our sister pen stay smoking. Islam, you there, goddess and queen?
Praise the Lord. Close this thought. That's a grand chief. Powerful class. Gratitude.
Islam.
Islam family. Gratitude. First of all, I want to rise, giving all praises to our Father God Allah, giving honor to our Prophet Noble Lee, the last prophet in these days and times, giving honor to our Moorish American government, all of our officials, staff, angels, muftis, divine ministers, most especially our Moorish kin. Giving honor to all those Moors that spoke before me, all those Moors that will speak after me, giving honor to our family online. We want to give a special honor to Act 1, to our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, Dr. Jahudi Bey, also our Consul General of Texas, Dr. Marvin Edwards Bey, for taking registration and reading our subject chapter for the week, and our National Assistant Grand Sheikh for opening our meeting according to law. We want to give a special honor to our host instructor, our National Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, Dr. Shedwa Menti and Mohammed Shamsual, for this powerful class, this powerful Moorish Perspectives class this evening. Our subject matter, chapter 46, ayat 3, prepare him early with instruction and season his mind with the maxims of truth. Much gratitude for bringing to us from the Dictionary of Symbols, referencing the ladder, dealing with displaying ascension, and also the stairways of spiritual ascension. Also recognizing the fact that we have to be able to link our will with the deific will to become great parents, recognizing that this is a responsibility that's between parents and the Creator. When we're looking at being able to season his mind with the maxims of truth, and the word that came forth was dealing with inclination. I was reflecting on that, and that's a tendency to do something, to bend or to slope, and to make something a particular habit. And as the prophet tells us that we have got to study the self, we have to first recognize the fact that we have to go from being inclined to do not foolishness and folly to becoming spiritually inclined, making sure that we are being the master of the house is more honorable than the walls, making sure that we are directing our course to justice, mercy, love, and right, on that path of righteousness. And when we recognize the foundation that we are standing on is something that has no beginning, has no end, because it's founded upon love divine, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, then in making this our foundation, then you have something to give to the children. You have something to give to the future goddess of the nation, because now you can teach spiritual inclination. You can teach the maxims of truth because it is coming from your own goddess, your own divinity, your own hierophant within yourself. And so when we look at being inclined to the will of Allah, as one of the Moorish kin was speaking, we're dealing with holy and divine instructions. This means that we're not talking about following something willy-nilly or following behind any whichever way the wind blows, there go I. No, we're speaking about something that is based upon infinity, where it speaks about time never was when man was not. And this is what we want to impart to our children, the greatness, the grandeur, of our ancestors and forefathers, because too often, coming up here in the West,
all you hear is that our people don't amount to nothing. They ain't about nothing, never have been, never will be. So we've got to change the narrative based on the truth, not his story, but something that we recognize and give honor to as far as our ancestors and forefathers. And this brings about a race pride. This is what we're speaking about, spiritual inclination, being able to see the God not only in yourself, but in each other. And that lends itself to learning how to be a friend to mankind, to demonstrating compassion, being joyful, knowing how to be content. Not just following after things that you see on a manifest level, but going deeper, dealing with the things that you cannot see. So when we're teaching ourselves, our children, the maxims of truth, and this is something that's going to stay with them, and they may not always follow the path because they've got to learn lessons for themselves. We cannot go the way for them, but in giving them the keys and giving them the truth and the strong foundation, then not a word is lost. So gratitude for this powerful class. Definitely got to go back with the playback, and gratitude for all the keys that you brought forth, Dr. Shaheed. Powerful measure and wisdom. Peace and love.
And peace and love to you as well, Moorish goddess and queen, for all it is that you do as well, because we definitely draw strength, from the same well. Praise be to Allah. Islamism without the schism, the best is most definitely yet to come. Well, all right. Let us call forth our national assistant grand sheikh, Brother Aku Heru Jahudi Bey. Islam, you there, grand man? Islam.
Islam family. Dr. Akua Jahudi Bey, National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America. We rise to give all praise to mighty God Allah. Give honors to Holy Prophet Drew Ali. We give honors to the Moorish American government. Honors to our officials. Act 1. Honors to our Grand National Flag, Grand National Seal, our Grand National Emblem. Honors to all Moorish Americans here, there, and everywhere. Honors to all those who spoke before me, and honors to all those that will speak after me. And honors to you, our National Grand Sheikh, Dr. Shaheed, for another powerful Moorish perspective coming out of our chapter 46, ayat 3. Prepare him early with instruction and season his mind with the maximums of truth. I give you so much honor, Dr. Shaheed, for this powerful lesson this evening and instructing us about the holy instructions for our children and teaching them the truth. I tried to hold myself down because you was elevating oneself, and the things that you were demonstrating about how we have been so pulled so far away from the truth, not just truth of ourselves, truth of who made us, but we were just so dumbed down with knowledge of self, and that even in the European miseducation, I don't want to call them prisons, but they were mental prisons, that they gave a falsehood of education, a misdirection of education, and had us thinking that we were learning the truth when actually if we were nowhere near it. But when one knows better, they do better. And to learn that we had prophet that came and gave us the truth, that gave us the roadmap to the truth, that we no longer have any excuses of playing the game of the blame game. We don't have no more excuses. We see that outside of our government now, where ones are just so fed up. Some things just bouncing off like we have a suit of armor. The things that the way we are being attacked all around the world. It's no different from now, from 500 years ago. If we have the truth of who we are now, we know that we're gods and goddesses. And we have to continue to cultivate the minds of our young to let them know that they don't have to run around slinging drugs. They don't have to run around beating one up because they looked at you the wrong way. With that unity that we are cultivating the minds of our young ones with the truth of who made them and who they are, who they belong to, that they're gods, they're connected to royalty. Islam, I mean, when I think about the organizations outside of this government, one of the things that drew me and to the Moorish American government was that I was sitting listening to the demonstrations, and each and every one of you were speaking the truth. That drew me. Islam, and when I was one of the ones that was in the dark when it came to my who made me and who I was. I was lost in that bubble of, am I black? Am I colored? Who am I? That question that never gets answered until you come home to the Moorish American government. Islam, and when I think about how ones attack our flag and our seal and emblem, how they attack you and how they attack the chairman and how they attack our other chief, Serapis Ramanel Emeritus, how they attack the government, how they attack the prophet, saying that we're not legit and all of this nonsense. It used to get to me. Sheik, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Used to make me feel some kind of way. But the thing is that we're teaching the truth here. And as long as I've been on this journey, like I've said it so many times before, no one else is doing what we're doing here in the Moorish American government. Period. Point blank. Bottom line. Drop the curtain. No one is doing it. We're teaching the truth here. We're teaching how to love one another here. Islam and the prophet gave us specific instructions. He left the instructions in his hadith. He said that he was going to leave the European here long enough to teach us how to run a government. Prophet said that. Not Shahid, not the chairman, not Jehudi Bey. The prophet said that. The prophet did not say that he was going to leave us here long enough to run the United States government. We have our own flag. We have our own government. We are free here. We don't need no one else to show us how to be free. That doesn't even make sense to wait on someone else to unlock the key, to unlock to let us out, to open up our minds to the truth, open up our minds to the love that we should have for one another, the unity that we should have for one another. This government is teaching us how to be truthful with each other. We don't have to stretch the truth. We don't have to give you falsehood of who you are. It takes too much energy to tell a lie. Islam, this is divinity here. Stepping on that 12-step ladder, it takes that first step, obedience. If you're not obeying the great God Allah, if you're not obedient to Him, then you can't even get on that first step. If you're not obedient to yourself, you shouldn't even try. We're teaching ones how to be men and women, gods and goddesses here in the Moorish American government. And all it takes is just a simple thing. It seems like it's so hard to do, but it's so simple. All you got to do is tell the truth. Islam, and I know in chapter 2 it says in ayah 15 that ones, the cardinal mind, they love the dark. And when the light shines in the dark, they comprehend it not. But we're here to just make it plain and simple to you, so you can comprehend it. We are a government, and we're going to continue to give our children the truth of who they are and who they can become. There's nothing we can't do. How come we can't unify and free ourselves? How come we can't come together and build nations, not just here, but all around the world? How come we can't free that mental slavery that has infected our entire nation? Continually to do it as we speak. It's time to get rid of all that naught. The Europeans ain't never cared about us, and they never will. Why are we continually playing games with them? It doesn't make sense for our people to not get that. You stub your toe, you don't walk around and go back and do it again. You don't walk into a wall, come back and do it again. You don't get into a relationship where someone is abusing you and you want to leave, but you can't leave. The door is open. We've been abused too long. We've been denied the truth for too long. It's time to wake up. The Prophet has given us instructions, and we're here in the Moorish American government. We're delivering it. Islam, Sheikh. Peace and love. We love you. Grand class.
And Islam to you as well, Sheikh. You know the love is mutual. And that same golden cord is represented in the triune Allah, wisdom, will, and love. Well, all right, speaking of triune Allah, let us call forth our National Grand Chairman, Dr. Akin Acton Pert M. Heru, the book, Tutankhamun Bey. You there, Grand Man? Man, who else we got to call on in this new era and time?
Everything that it takes to save a nation. And more, we are so honored and blessed. And when we just look at what it is with our holy covenant, our warning, our divine constitution, everything that it brought to us. And this is, you got to remember, we had just underwent some slavery. We done lost it until the Prophet showed us how to find what we lost and how to find it again. And where it is, and it was ours. We weren't stealing or borrowing or begging. It was ours anyway. So the thing about it is, you're talking about having our own warning, our own covenant, our divine constitution. It's just an honor and a blessing to have what belongs to you. And I don't know how many of y'all have been locked up before, But it doesn't matter about the crime that you committed. The thing about it is that you had to do the time for the crime. Well, like so, you also got a divine constitution that belongs to you. You got a holy covenant that belongs to you. The warning belongs to you. It ain't nothing that you stole. It's yours. But you got to come home to get it. You got to come to your own mindset. That's why the first question is who? And I want to say it again. Who made you? Say what? Say it again. Who made you? I don't want to hear nothing about your mama and daddy. No. Come on with it now. Who made you? There you go. Allah. Whew. Mighty mission more. Islamism without a schism.
Islamism. He didn't say who made you do it, neither. I give honors to our National Grand Chairman of Moorish America. Man, it's an honor to be at this era in time, Moorish Ken. And, you know, I always tell our family all the time, we could have been born in any cycle age now, 25,000, 50,000, over 100,000 years ago. But we just so happen to be here in this era in time to be the culmination to receive everything you just heard our chairman say that we got. And it's ours too. You know, it's free for free people. Now, all that other stuff you got to pay for. You know, and man, we already know our people scarce right now. So we can't be playing them games wrong. They done robbed charity. What you gonna get from there? So that being said, we just say gratitude with a divine attitude. And truth be told, you know, it was our holy prophet who prepared us early with instruction, guided us to this point, and seasoned our mind from the plane of soul with the maxim of the truth. That way we can climb up anytime we want to. Just like Yahushua was able to do and go in the realm of the unmanifest and teach. Oh, they think it's a game. But freedom ain't a game, though. So that being said, Morris Ken, we love you. Always with love and divinity. And we just here to try to encourage our people, you know, to be themselves. Accept your own, be yourself. We love you all. But we in some trying times now, Morris. You know, like time's over. Are we gonna die together? You know what I mean? As you will and take it, you know, but it's time to get on the front line for all of you who have talents. Bring them home to your people and uplift your nation. And all will be well. Then the lion can lay down with the lamb. I'm telling you, ain't no lion laying down with the lamb, you know, between no Moors and no European. The lamb has to do when the lamb come up under their own Moorish American government. And then you have a lion standing in defense of you. You know, so we just say gratitude with a divine attitude, Islamism without the schism. And that being said, January 15, 1929, a warning from the prophet to be read at every meeting. I hereby inform all citizens that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work in their homes or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any citizen or group of citizens who hold malicious feelings toward the government of the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where the prophet found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Drew Ali, And if the prophet is not right, the government is not right. The prophet therefore is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the government. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. By order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, we bring forth this divine decree. Chapter 25. A holy covenant of the Asiatic nations. Yea, the children of one father, provided for by his care, in the breasts of one mother have given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother's in adversity, assist him. If thy sister's in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all, in your love to each other. Go in peace, Muslims. Moorish movement, divine movement, everlasting movement. You and I tie Islamism without the schism. Peace and love.
Chairman. Nothing happened. No, all you got to do right instead of doing wrong. Pay your dues. Peace and love, more. All right, look, bro.
Islam Moors, and want to give honor to our Moors out there in social media too. Brother Gary Miles Bay, Ophir in 1984, Tyrese Bay, Adrian Johnson. We give honor to all of you. Jehudi and Doug Cody too. Noble Bryan. Islam. Peace and love. Most definitely welcome to the new Moors. That's right. Peace and love, Moors. See you in Sunday school. That's where the guides and the guiders of the nation arrive and derive from. Islam. Peace and love.